Okay, so we're going to start with color theory, learning how to use our color pencils to blend the colors of the color wheel, and then we'll talk about color harmonies. There's three colors, primary colors, that all other colors are made from. Do y'all know what the three primary colors are? Yes. Next. Red, blue, and what? Yellow. Red, blue, and yellow. Yes. So we're going to start by using red, blue, and yellow. So you can pull those out to the side. And I want you to see how I use my pencil, okay? Watch the screen and see how I use my pencil, and I want you to try to use your pencil in the same way. What I'm teaching you is the way I color. I try to do it number one because I like the way that it appears. It looks less scratchy. You can't see what direction I'm coloring in. I use very short strokes, and I use the side of the pencil point. And if you use the side of the pencil point, you don't have to sharpen it quite as much, okay? So I'm going to go find red on here. These are your primary colors, okay? I'm going to hold my pencil to the side, and I'm going to color in little ovals. And whenever we do these projects where I don't want to see the direction that you shade in, always use the side of your color pencil, okay? Fill it in as much as you can. Now, everybody stop what you're doing and look. All eyes up here, please. I've got this colorless blender. To me, this is a magic pencil, okay? It really helps blend colors. It helps push the pigment into the paper and makes it bolder. So if you take it and just color over it, you can color as fast as you want to. It makes it bolder and fills in all the white areas of the paper unless you need the white areas to show. Then you wouldn't use it. So after we color each color, we're going to be using the colorless blender. What I like to do to clean my colorless blender, I need y'all all looking this way. Okay, so we got the red. I used the colorless blender. Now I'm going to go to one of the other primary colors. I'm going to fill it in short little strokes using the side of my pencil point. Sometimes it's easier just to keep turning my paper so that I can get it inside. Okay, then I keep filling it in. Then I use my colorless blender. Push the pigment into the paper. And what's the last primary color that we're going to do? Huh? Yellow, okay? So the primary colors are the colors that create all the other colors. So now I'm going to go to yellow and fill that in. Now, you've got the three primary colors right here. If you look at the bottom of the paper, am I going too fast? If you look at the bottom of the paper, it says primary hues. Does anybody know what hue means? Like if I said, what is the hue of, let's see, of Skylar's shirt? The pure color. The color, okay? It is the name of the color, okay? So the hue of Skylar's shirt is like a blue-green. What is the hue of his suspenders? Red. Red. I'd say red. But, by the way, I like those suspenders. That's cool. So, it's the name of the color. So, down here it says do red, yellow, and blue. So, I'm going to go ahead and put my primary colors down here as well. Make sure that you're coloring as neatly as you possibly can. I don't want to see what direction you're coloring in. And you do that by using short little strokes. And I color in small little ovals. Make sure that you're not using purple instead of blue, because the colors, blue and purple, look very similar on the outside of these Crayola color pencils. Once I get these three colors colored, I'm going to push the color in with my, blend the color in with my colorless blender. And it really makes it bolder. I'm going to clean it on another piece of paper. Now I'll come around and see how everybody's doing, and then we'll move on to the secondary colors. All right, so if you mix a primary color, two primary colors together, you get a secondary color. Do you know what the secondary colors are? Somebody who hadn't answered. Ashani. Orange, green, and violet. So let's pull those colors out. Orange, green, and violet. All right. So now you're going to do the same thing we did before and go and put the, here's orange, here's green, and here's violet. Make sure you're putting it where it says on the color wheel. Okay. Use the side of your pencil point. Color it as neatly as you possibly can. After you get the color on there, blend it with the colorless blender. I use the side of the colorless blender too, so you won't have to keep sharpening it as much. So that's orange. Green is down here at the bottom. So you want to use the, it says green on it. Make sure you're not using the yellow green. Short little strokes. You can go ahead and put it down here too as we're working, because the secondary colors are right down here. I'm going to go back and fill in the orange right here, because the orange, green, and violet are down here at the bottom as well, because they've got it separated into your primary and secondary colors. And then the last secondary color is violet. Make sure you pick up violet and not blue, okay? Because it's hard to tell when they're right next to each other. So if you mix yellow and red together, what secondary color do you get? Orange. If you mix blue and yellow together, what do you get? Green. Green. If you mix blue and red together, what do you get? Violet. Very good. And violet and purple are the same color. Okay? They mean the same thing. They are the same hue. Once you have that done, push it in, blend it in with your colorless blender. And then we will start working on the intermediate colors, or tertiary colors. Then I'm going to use my colorless blender down here at the bottom. I'll come around and see how y'all are doing, because I want to make sure I'm not going too fast. If you mix a primary color with a secondary color, you get an intermediate color, or it's called tertiary color. So if I mixed orange and red together, what color would I get? Red, orange. If I mixed blue and green together, what would I get? Can't hear you. Blue, green, good. If I mixed red and violet together, what would I get? Red, violet, thank you. If I mixed yellow and green together, what would I get? Yellow, green. And if I mixed yellow and orange together, what would I get? Okay. Now, I know we have the colors in the color pencil box for this, but I want us to blend the colors, all right? So let's watch what we're going to do. Okay, now, let's work with we'll work with yellow-orange, because there's definitely not a pencil for that in our color pencils. So what I like to do is do a very light shading of orange. Very light shading. I generally start with the darker color first and then go blend it with the lighter color. So there's orange, and you can see how you can barely see it. Then I take yellow. Hold on just a moment. Okay, so I'm going to take this and blend the yellow on top of it, and that's yellow-orange. Then you'll take the colorless blender and put it on top of it. Now, this is how I do red-orange. Even though we have a red-orange, I want you to blend it yourself. So I'm going to take red. I'm going to do a light shading of red because it's the darker hue. And then I'm going to put orange over it. I think it needs to be a little bit redder, so I'm going to put red over it too. So I want you to mix your intermediate colors, even though we have some of the colors in our box. Okay, so now I'm going to do red-violet. So violet to me is a little darker than the red, so I'm going to start with a very light shading of violet and then blend it together with the red. So when I say a light shading, that means I'm not bearing down with my pencil. I'm barely touching the paper when I'm coloring. Okay, and then I'm going to take red and I want it more red than violet. So I'm going to blend my red over it. Now, in the future, if you need red-violet, you can use the color that says raspberry, according to Crayola. They call it raspberry. I call it red-violet. Okay? So then, blue and violet, I don't think I called that out a minute ago. So I'm going to do violet first, and then color blue on top of it. Those of you who have that lighter color blue that you're using, use the darker shade of blue that's included in your tub to do this. I'm going to go over it with blue. And I want this to be more blue than violet. Then there's blue-green. So I'm going to do blue first because to me it's a darker shade than the green. Do a light shading of it. Then I'm going to go over it with the green. Make sure you're not using the yellow green. Then I'm going to do my yellow green, and I'm doing a very light shading of green, and then I'll go over it with yellow. Okay, now I'm going to take my colorless blender. I'm going to need to sharpen mine. Make sure I'm using the color side of my sharpener. All right, now I'm going to push in the color, the pigment into the paper. Once you have this done, you're going to fill in the intermediate colors down here at the bottom. Okay. So yellow, orange, and if you want to watch me do it, you can. If you can feel comfortable, you can go ahead and do it yourself. Green. And blue violets. So the main thing you get from the bottom pieces down here, that you know that there's primary colors, secondary colors, and intermediate colors. All right, I'll come around and see how y'all are doing. Use your colorless blender to blend these in. I think this could be a little more violet. Sometimes you have to monitor and adjust. One of my students last period caught me putting red orange where I was supposed to put red. All right, so this is what yours should look like to this point. I'll come around and see how you are.